While the win at Charlotte was a runaway for Acosta, the end of the race was perhaps one of the most unusual finishes we've ever witnessed in a Cup race. A battle for the fastest lap bonus erupted, and pit crews worked furiously to fit fresh rubber to Octavio and Abner's cars. Rondeletto grabbed it at the finish line and with it took the points lead. Can he back that up today in Texas? We'll find out as we get ready to watch round 5 of the PRL NASCAR Cup Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Robert O'Brien, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Texas Motor Speedway has gone through a lot of changes in its short history. Let's head to our track guide to find out more about it.
Welcome to Texas Motor Speedway. They say everything's bigger in Texas, and TMS doesn't disappoint. Located 45 minutes northwest of downtown Dallas and just over 20 minutes north of downtown Fort Worth, Texas Motor Speedway opened back in February of 1996. Texas Motor Speedway has been a staple on the NASCAR and IndyCar circuits since the first major event was held here back in 1997. TMS is a 1.5-mile quad oval mirroring sister tracks in Atlanta and Charlotte, but what makes Texas unique is the very banking. Turns 1 and 2 are banked at 20 degrees. Turns 3 and 4 are banked at 24 degrees, and that may not seem like much to you, but the reduction in banking combined with an abrupt exit angle in turn 2 makes the first half of the track among the trickiest in oval racing. Many an iRacer have seen their race come to an end after bouncing off the turn 2 wall. Now on the back half of the track, turns 3 and 4 make for some of the most intense and exciting wheel-to-wheel racing in the world, and have led to many memorable finishes in NASCAR and in IndyCar, including 2 of the 6 closest finishes in IndyCar history. The Lone Star Tower stands as one of the most visually stunning structures on the iRacing service. Located in Turn 2, this 10-story building is home to condominiums as well as office suites, and boy does it stand out under the picturesque setting Texas sun. Well, that's our look at Texas Motor Speedway. Now sit back, kick up your cowboy boots, and enjoy the show.
Well, DJ, Cup cars at Texas, it's a classic. How are they going to be handling tonight?
Oh, Joe, you couldn't have said it any better. They're going to be handling relatively well, but a couple of things to keep in mind for these Cup cars as they go around. Number one is that always tricky exit of turn 4. Because this is a quad oval situation here, it's going to be very, very difficult to get that car off of the corner and not let it run wide up into the wall. Now, overtaking here is pretty straightforward for a NASCAR race, but especially be watching out for any crossover moves going through 1 and 2. That is a good way to do it. Running the high-low line is particularly effective through there. But this is a day race. We are just about past 1 o'clock virtual standard time. It's a hot track out here, and drivers are going to have to be very, very careful because Texas is a place that likes to chew up tires big time. So they're going to have to watch out for those, especially the outside tires. Make sure they're getting those down to a cool temperature if they can. And don't be surprised if we see some drivers sort of backing off mid-race to be able to get a big charge later on.
Yeah, that management will certainly be a talking point, I'm sure. Before we get to the racing, though, our broadcast is brought to you by ASR. Owned and operated by passionate sim racers, Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com.
It's also sponsored by RaceLab. RaceLab helps you to improve your driving skills. With modern overlays, race statistics, and native VR integration, you can get the best out of iRacing. Start using it for free at racelab.app.
Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com.
Today's event is also brought to you by SimMSA. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring everyone together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SIMMSA.net.
And finally, the PRL NASCAR Cup Series is brought to you by NinjaTrader. Ready to compete against the financial markets? Supporting over 60,000 users across the globe, NinjaTrader provides award-winning trading software and brokerage services. NinjaTrader is always free to use for advanced charting, backtesting, and trade simulation. Visit ninjatrader.com to get started with a risk-free trading simulator and start tracking your performance. As we take a look at the championship so far this season, as I mentioned, Octavio Rondoletto has pushed himself back up to the front, and Abner Acosta has gained some positions as well with his win last week. Now, James O'Brien is the one to watch out for. He's been fighting with Rondoletto this season and last season, but don't count out Bradley Holly. Didn't have quite the race that he wanted at the Roval, but he is certain to bounce back here now that we're back on the oval courses. Trent Dinkel rounding out your top five, only a single point behind Acosta for now. DJ, what about the team's championship?
Well, we're a little bit more spread out at the top, with private label Team Hype leading the way with 321 points, and Whataback Racing Black 17 points back from them. It's a pretty close battle there between Whataback and SGE eSports Apex, with only about 4 points separating them. A big jump back then between Whataback Racing Orange and SGE eSports Slipstream, but they're only separated by about 4 points, so a pretty good battle could be shaping up there as well.
And we are, of course, in the playoffs now here for the 2021 season. And there you can see Abner Acosta, with his win, is automatically into the round of 8. James O'Brien, Bradley Holly, Long, Dinkel, Besaw Jr., Sumner, and Cowgill are the ones that are currently above the cut line. Witt, Kalen, Harvey, and Walden are the ones that need to try and make some positions up here. But they've got a couple rounds. There is tonight and Kansas, of course, to try to make it through, and a win will automatically put you through. We also have today's race details. DJ, what are the drivers up against?
Well, we are nearing that halfway point, round 5 of 10 in this 4th season here in 2021 for the PRL NASCAR Cup Series. We're in store for 145 laps, or an hour and a half, whichever comes first, and drivers will have 5 sets of total tires to race on today, including the ones that they start on. So that will be crucial for what we talked about with that tire weight. Now, that is open setup, and that's really where the teams come into play here. You can work with your team to try to get that car working best. No spare cars, so if you get up into the wall, which is a pretty easy thing to do here at Texas, you've got to go into the pits and hit that car with the hammer to try to get it fixed up. 24 incident limit here today, although for most times with the high speeds we see at Texas, I think if you're getting up close to that, you're going to be pretty much done to begin with.
Yeah, it's hard to have small accidents around here. And we're in the midst of qualifying now. I think we've got the first couple laps getting ready to be set. Here's Cowgill, and he puts down a 29.6, the first driver to set a marker for everyone else. Now we wait to see who can match that. And Walden does almost immediately, taking the provisional pole by a couple tenths. We are waiting, though, for some big names that typically we see up at the front. Of course, Bradley Holly, not a stranger to the pole position around here. What about Rondoletto?
Yeah, keeping an eye on them. Chris Hudson bumping his way up into 3rd. That's a good run for Waldo Walden. Remember, he had to miss the Roval last time out, and he is on the verge of dropping out of the playoff standings here. So he needs to have that time, able to go a little bit faster there on that last lap. I'm seeing Mark Kalen coming in 3rd. Michael Witt bumps his way into 11th right now. Baron Hilton comes up into 9th.
Ooh, Brandon Walter up into 3rd just now with his 29.270. So he's found himself on the 2nd row, but we're still missing about half the field, and they do have time to try to set their laps around here. They only get 2 of them. There you see on board with Bradley Holly. Looks like he is now out on the track, and I think he's getting ready to start his flyer.
He is indeed. Charles Sumner there, able to go up to 15th. Taylor Stout's first lap to get him 18th. There's that concentration, though, from Holly. Yeah, you just want to hug the bottom line there and then let the car drift up the track. Ooh, that's going to cost him a little bit, and Bradley knows it. You saw that head shake. That is that tricky line off the corner, Joe. It is so fast around here, and the car will want to step out on you.
And James O'Brien just took the provisional pole as well by about 300ths over Walden. Looks like that lap will count for Holly. That's good enough for 8th place, unusually low for him. As Acosta also out there, and he puts himself into 4th. And I just noticed Taylor Stout has stolen the pole on his second lap by about 5 thousandths over O'Brien.
Yeah, James O'Brien only about 4 hundredths above Waldo Walden there, so a very impressive run for him as well. Let's see here if Holly's able to do any better on that lap. He's not liking it from what we saw, and that's only going to move him up as high as 8th.
Oof, yeah. Well, at least it's a long race, and he'll have time to try and bump his way up the order. This is Zemke now. His first lap is only good enough for 23rd. Rondoletto is also out on track in his 48. So we're anxious to see what he can put down. Zemke for his second time. Let's see if this is any better. 29.3. That's about 3 tenths up. That'll be good enough for 18th place for him. Rondoletto is going to be our last one to be able to set a time, I think, because nobody else is out on track now. And we've only got about 50 seconds left.
And Octavio puts down an 11th place marker to start off. He's running a little bit of a higher line than we've seen out of some drivers. Now, you can do that around here. Just carry that momentum around. It really just depends on the setup of your car. Dives it down to that low line through 3 and 4, though. Let's see what the Juncos Racing eSports team has in store here as he gets ready to cross the line.
Second lap is going to be a 29.182, only mildly faster, but that does get him into 5th as it's tight in that mid-pack. So he's got some work to do. He's behind both Acosta and O'Brien, but Taylor Stout, I have to say, is a bit of a surprise here today. Not one that we, or at least I, had my eye on for a potential competitor up at the front. And there is your starting grid with Taylor Stout on the pole and James O'Brien to his outside. Abner Acosta will start from 3rd place, followed by Waldo Walden, looking to try and make up some points here in the playoffs. Octavio Rondoletto starts 5th, followed by Matthew Long. Then you've got Trent Dinkle starting 7th and Chris Hudson outside of him. Newcomer Raphael Hubie will be in 9th and Bradley Hawley all the way down in 10th for some reason today.
Bradley's going to have his work cut out for him, but starting behind him will be Brandon Walter and Mark Kalin in row 6, with Robert Besaw Jr. and Pat Harvey lining up behind them. 15th will be Patrick Cowgill, followed by Danny Cervantes, with Skip Gandy and Ryan Goodell in 18th. And then in row 10, rounding out your top 20, it's Adam Zemke and Scotty Johnson.
Michael Witt will start from 21st, followed by Carlos Romero in 22nd. Then it is Barron Hilton, P23. Charles Sumner starts 24th. CM Pennington 25th. And Joao Guerra is in 26th. Only 2 cars that didn't set a time. Zivkov and Hutchison in our 27-car field here today. And you talked about that hot weather out there, DJ, 94 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface. With this being 145 laps and this chewing up tires so much, I have to imagine, even if we do get some early cautions, would you imagine that drivers are going to try and wait and save those?
I certainly would, Joe. You know, I mean, I want to have the newest tires I can have on the car in the final stages of the race. If you are able to make this work a little bit, we're hearing under perfect conditions that they can probably get to about 50 to 55 laps before they need to come on into the pits. If you're able to even stretch that at 45 to 50, that's going to be the way you want to go. That's going to leave you some tires to be able to use at the end. If there's a late race yellow, if there's a green-white checker situation, you do not want to be hung out to dry up front on old tires.
So we'll see who saves them in the end, who's got the strategy in mind, and how are the yellows going to play out in terms of that as well as they take off on the pace lap. You can see 34 Celsius for our metric friends. So it is toasty here in the Texas sun. And through that now new shallower first couple turns, turns 1 and 2 have been reprofiled in recent seasons here at Texas and is completely different from the second half of the course through 3 and 4. So the drivers certainly will have to pay attention and stay on their toes throughout this race. But can Taylor Stout ruin the party? He has no investment, I don't think, even in the championship this season. He is just basically showing up and looking like a real hot shoe out there. He's got a lot of drivers with plenty to worry about here, both with the playoffs and in the Season 4 championship. O'Brien, Acosta, Rondoletto, Bradley Hawley back there trying to make his way up the order. We're getting ready to take off as the iRacing pace car leads them out of 4. Stout will be given control of the field. There it goes. Waiting for the 66 to take the green here for round 5 in the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series. And there's the green. Not the greatest of starts for Taylor Stout. Looks like O'Brien gets a great jump around the outside, but I'm not sure with the shallow banking in 1 and 2, he'll be able to try and get past him back there, just following in line. That is Abner Acosta in the 5, making sure the 9 has no place to go.
Indeed, and Acosta's going to move down to the inside as they go down the backstretch. A little bit of a checkup there. Oh, as we've got, I think, a yellow in the back. We've got a big wreck coming out of 2.
I see Skip Gandy. Oh, in the 519. Guerra going around. Looks like the 7 as well. Not sure what caused this. Hearing some of the drivers already blaming whole tires. And I think Waddell. Oh, it's the 25 of Cervantes, the first one to get loosed in the blue. Everybody around him, unfortunately, having to scatter. And the 4 of Romero just plows into the rear of that car.
Yeah, Romero just trying to figure out where to go. And this is Cervantes. Just watch this, Joe. It is just snap oversteer. Colt tires trying to come up. You can see it go away. Tries to catch it and just sort of ping-pongs back and forth.
That collected a lot of people very early. And this is a pretty fast track, so I would think even if they are able to continue, they're probably not going to be up to full pace, will they, DJ?
I would be seriously doubtful that they would. We've already got Cervantes, Goodell, Romero, and Guerra into the pits right now, just trying to get some repairs done. Waiting to see, yeah, they're going to have to go a lap down here. There are lucky dogs in this series, so hopefully if one of them is able to get some decent repairs done, the virtual crew's banging away on that sheet metal with some mallets here. Hopefully that can help them out, but definitely going to put them on the back foot.
Sadly, Cervantes is already done for the day, but Goodell, Romero, Guerra are going to try and get what they can back into shape. Looks like Gandy was able to continue, comes back around to take a little bit of service himself. Well, we didn't even get halfway through lap 1, and we've already experienced our first caution of the day. Not the best of signs. Hopefully they've gotten rid of the jitters, and maybe that will put everybody on their toes, DJ, that the cold tires are not something to mess around with here.
No, they are not, and I think we take a little bit of blame for that with all the talk we had about how hot the tires are going to get. You do need to give them a minute to warm up. Just got to be careful. You don't want to put too many inputs coming through that first corner. As you said, Joe, it's reprofiled. It's flatter now, which means that you can't carry nearly as much speed. You've got to do a little bit of throttling, and as it starts to flatten out a little bit, very, very tricky to get right.
So we were riding on board with O'Brien, who fell back to 3rd in just those couple corners. He definitely got a decent start, but then had no place to go. And what was interesting before that yellow came out, DJ, I noticed that Acosta was kind of looking underneath Stout on the backstretch. Not sure if he was actually going to be able to get fully alongside him by turn 3, but it seems like Abner's in a bit of a hurry today.
Yeah, I think Abner wants to get out front. He was definitely doing what we had kind of talked about, doing that crossover line, running high to low through 1 and 2 as we ride on board, and you can see Trent Dinkle there with the jersey to match his paint scheme, sitting back right now in 5th.
And just alongside him is Octavio Rondoletto. Holly, by the way, didn't make up any positions in that little bit of racing that we did get. So kind of wondering if the high side is not going to be the place to be on the restart. It's almost like a short track or something here, DJ, that if we could see drivers get a little bit freight trained being stuck on the high side in 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's a distinct possibility, Joe, because with as much momentum as these Cup cars need to build up, running that high side, you just don't have the speed to carry through there, and you want to take the shortest line from point A to point B. So I think low side is going to be the way to go here on restarts.
Here we go. First restart of the night on lap 5. Taylor Stout once again going to be given control of the field. There goes the pace car. Waiting on it, getting him checked up here. He is not interested in going early here today. And now he is off. Green flag is out. Looks like Acosta not quite as on it as O'Brien was. O'Brien could manage to get that second place back here since he is underneath. And look at Rondoletto. He's going to follow him through.
Yeah, it's a heads-up move there from Octavio, just trying to get that power on, and indeed, we're seeing a lot of those cars on the high side getting a little bit freight trained here. They are coming through right now, but now speed is going to build up. It looks like we're clear through the back of the field, and that is going to be Acosta and Rondoletto running each other ragged. Acosta up on the high side.
He's got better momentum coming off the corner. That'll allow him to clear Rondoletto now under threat as Matthew Long carries the speed well up past him. Oh, and a little bit of contact. Looks like the 9 got into the back of the 6. Did he get loose?
I think he may have, and that's really gonna cause the 9 of James O'Brien to fall back. Oh, contact between him and Rondoletto coming through 3 and 4.
Things are feisty very early, and now Abner Acosta has managed to use his momentum to pass Stout. He is to the lead. O'Brien wants to get past him as well. Doesn't seem to like what Taylor has underneath him. So Taylor drifts high. Rondoletto almost going 3 wide there, almost getting into the side of Matthew Long. There's 140-some laps to go, guys. Come on, calm down.
Yeah, it's a pretty aggressive move there from Matthew Long, just keeping his nose to the outside. But kudos to Octavio Rondoletto for being able to keep that 48 machine down low where it needed to be. Now, right behind them on this is Trent Dinkle, just sitting back in the popcorn position. He's able to pick his line where he wants to go. And right now, he is going to follow Octavio Rondoletto down on the low line.
And look who is coming up behind them as well. The 184 of Holly is starting to approach. He's gotten himself up to 7th. Rondoletto falls back behind Long. Now Trent Dinkle up on the high line, coming around 3 and 4. Doesn't look like he's got the speed. Stout continuing to fall as well. He's going to get captured up by Matthew Long.
Yeah, and I think the problem this is going to get real squirrely here. That is Taylor Stout trying to run that super high line, and it checked up the 501 of Trent Dinkle. That allows for Bradley Holly to now get the move down on the inside.
Well, it looked like Dinkle was going to gain a spot. Instead, he lost one. Holly sends it in deep down into 3 and 4 underneath Dinkle. And as they exit turn 4, Holly already up to 6th position. Ahead of it all, Acosta continues to lead O'Brien.
Yes, he does. And what we're starting to see play out here a little bit is the fact high line may work through 1 and 2, but it is massively sketchy coming through 3 and 4. A lot of drivers playing very, very fast and loose with that outside retaining wall on the exit of turn 4. You want to get down on this line and try to prevent the car from running up.
For the first time in a while, they go single file through the top 10. Only car I could see poking its nose out was back around 9th and 10th with Hudson and Hubie. Down through 1 and 2 once again. Oh, and drifting up off the corner, O'Brien not liking how the car is handling in the first half of the lap. Here comes Matthew Long, poking his nose, but then decides to come back to the racing line.
Yeah, comes back down on it, and that's a little bit what we talked about. Those rear tires just losing a little bit of grip coming out of the corners. It's very, very typical to see here at Texas, and that checkup has a little bit of a domino effect as it's really bunched up this top 6. They're almost running on top of each other here with Long, Rondoletto, Stout, and Holly as we got a yellow.
Yep, the 44 of CM Pennington stopped on the front stretch in the grass. I think he blew his engine, actually. Let's take a look at the replay for the 44. Watch through 3 and 4. There's a puff of smoke out the back. And then he tried to get it off the racing line, but unfortunately, the marshals did not like that. This is the 44 that we want. We're on with O'Brien. You can see we've just missed it there. Here it is right here. Just heard it pop.
Yeah, I think he missed a shift there or something, Joe. You can see the shudder out of the car as that engine just let go. 44 trying to bring it down pit lane. But that is going to bring out our second yellow here tonight, only about 12 laps into this race.
Wow. We're on lap 13, and Goodell is gone. He's taken it behind the wall. So is Guerra, officially. Pennington, I doubt we're going to see him again, if not for a long time, trying to get that engine repaired. And then Romero has been in since that first incident for about 8.5 minutes. So that's potentially 4 cars in the first dozen laps that we've lost.
Texas having a pretty high attrition rate here already, and you can see around the outside of it, one of the additions that iRacing did add is those pylons that light up yellow. It's just one of those little things that I love about iRacing. But yeah, some high attrition here at Texas. Our top 6 looking relatively unaffected. They're pretty much running the race that they want to run. As they're getting the wave around, I believe that was Troy Hutchison?
Nope, that was Cervantes. Looks like Cervantes. I thought he was done for the day. When did he get back out there? He's actually, that's going to put him on the lead lap, I think, even.
Yeah, it is. He was only a lap down there, Joe. He spent a lot of time in pit lane, about 152 seconds by my reckoning. But when he did it, it was under yellow, so he was able to get some damage banged out of that car, and he'll be back on the lead lap.
I think Holly's pretty relaxed here. Do you think? Just a casual drive around the Texas Motor Speedway. There we go. Now we're going to get to see his face. It's interesting to see him this relaxed, because we were hearing from his team that he's not in the greatest of moods tonight.
Yeah, we're hearing bad mood and a little bit tired, and that he was a little bit out for blood tonight, as it were. We are hearing that the 25 machine, that is Cervantes, has about 30 seconds left of damage on the car. That is mandatory damage that he's going to have to get fixed. About 2 minutes of optional damage to bang out. So still some work to do on the 25. He's playing a massive catch-up game.
Yeah, he's back down to the lane now that he got that lucky dog. So he's going to try and get what he can here and then rush out before the leaders get back to the start. Here's Patrick Cowgill, a little bit farther down in the field, running in 12th position. Started from 15th, and he has gained at least 3 so far in whatever green flag racing we've been managing to get out. It was good racing when we were green, for what it's worth. Just has not gone well for a few drivers so far.
No, it hasn't, and I'm looking at the track temperature. It has ticked up by 1 degree Fahrenheit, sitting now at 95 degrees. Also 11 miles an hour of wind gusting out of the southeast. That can affect the drivers a little bit. That'll buffer these big stock cars around ever so slightly, and so they're going to have to watch for it coming out of the corners.
Going to have another one of these mile-and-a-halfers after this in the form of Kansas. Then it's back to a short track at Martinsville from there. And then after that, Phoenix, Homestead, and Chicagoland. Pretty decent variety to take them to the finish of the year and season 4. And so far, it's already been pretty drastically different in the first 4 rounds as well. Back to our first repeat of a mile-and-a-halfer, going from Las Vegas in round 2, now to Texas here in round 5 as we go double file once again. Did Cervantes get back out? Yes, he did, and he's back on the tail of the train.
All right, so Danny able to come in and out. Probably is going to need a little bit more work on the car, if I'd have to guess, but he's still on the lead lap, so that is going to be a plus for him.
I think that's the main goal here for Danny, probably. He's the last one on the lead lap. Not the last one rolling, because it looks like Goodell has gotten that car back out there. So a few drivers that have taken their cars behind the wall have decided to try and get back out here. A bit surprising, actually. As we come down the backstretch, it'll be Acosta leading the way this time instead of Stout, who has slipped back to 5th here on this restart. So he's going to be on the inside at least. We'll see if he's got pace now, whatever was plaguing him earlier, if that's been fixed or if he's got himself in order. The pace car off of turn 4 with Acosta down low. O'Brien giving watch. He's with his teammate. How in touch are they on these restarts? It's early for the 5. Green flag is out, and O'Brien was not able to keep up with him. Here comes Matthew Long to his inside, looking to take second immediately.
And Octavio Rondoletto behind him in that 48, being very opportunistic. A very quick dart down to that inside line, wanting to avoid getting railroaded on the high line. He's going to come up alongside the 9 of James O'Brien here, but not able to get the move done. He's going to fall back into line.
Hawley already managing to get past Taylor Stout, or trying to, on the high side. Out of 4, starts to fall backwards. He wants that spot really badly as the car gets a little loose. Trent Dinkle giving watch from behind, hoping to maybe take advantage of any further errors. And once again, 1 and 2 is a low line only sort of corner. They all get back single file.
Yes, they do. Trying to run a little bit clearer here as they go. Hawley, you can see him poking his nose down a little bit lower, able to run a better line than that 5 of Taylor Stout in front of him. He's going to start to press his advantage here, I think.
Hopping on board with Taylor Stout now. Looking back at the multi-time champion. A little bit of a higher line from the 66 through the corner compared to the 184. Hawley going to try and get his nose down to the inside, but can't get the overlap that he wants.
And what that tells me, Joe, about Stout running that slightly higher line is he may just not have the front grip that he wants, but there he's got it off of the line, trying to make a little bit of a run on Octavio Rondoletto. Rondoletto chops him off as they go through the quad oval. Now Stout's going to try to lure this back up, but that pullout, that's going to make Hawley a little bit interested. This domino effect playing out up front once again.
Looking back from the rear bumper of Octavio now. Stout starts to fall back slightly. Oh, and when did Matthew Long get ahead of Acosta? New leader up at the front. The 28 has snuck by the 5.
Indeed he has, and that was just that crossover move like I've been talking about, running a high-low line and got down to the inside, going through 3 and 4. A good job there for the 28. Here we check it out on replay.
So here it is on the backstretch. Just simply get a good run. Yeah, and tucks it low. I'm impressed that he was able to keep the speed up, sharpening off the exit like that.
Yeah, me too, Joe. I caught the tail end of it, and I thought for sure it was just him running a high-low, but able to make it work. Back behind them, the 66 of Taylor Stout continuing to run that high line and making it work pretty well, although Bradley Hawley now has been able to pull alongside him for P5.
Taylor's been looking a little bit loose lately. Behind them, side by side between Dinkle and Hudson. And Hudson actually almost drifts into the wall, had to lift big time.
Had to get out of it. Whoa, late move here for Octavio Rondoletto on James O'Brien. He's going to go down to the inside through 1 and 2. Don't let that car drift up, Octavio. He doesn't, but here comes the momentum for James O'Brien.
Those private label teammates want to stick together. Oh, that checks up Taylor Stout. In fact, checks up everybody behind them as Hawley and Dinkle both start to try and back the cars up, not to get involved in it.
Yeah, I think Hawley may have even had to jab on the brakes a little bit. That car was just squirreling around a little bit on him, and he was lucky to be able to keep it underneath him. Looking back out of the rear fender now of Octavio Rondoletto. This is Taylor Stout. You know, we were questioning a little bit of his pace when he put that flyer down for a good lap. He's running a good race here, Joe.
He's sticking with it, still in the top 5, and he's been holding off a multi-time champion as well. So, yeah, I think credit where credit is due. We watch from on board Rondoletto once again, looking back at Stout.
Doesn't look like he's going to go for it. Oh, thinking about that little bit of a crossover. He's got a bit of a run on Rondoletto. Going to try to poke it to the outside, and he's going to bring along that 184 Bradley Hawley. Whoa!
Contact between the 184 and the 66 on the backstretch, and that caused Stout to get a little loose. Everybody catches it. If Hawley's not in a good mood, I'm sure that did not help the situation. Let's see if he tries to more urgently get past the 66 now after that moment.
Well, let's see what Bradley's thinking as we jump on board with him here, just following behind. Not a whole lot of changes there. as he tries to get in line. Yeah, trying to see what he can do. He is just all focused ahead right now.
We're used to seeing that from him. Head tilted forward, ready to try and charge his way up the field. Already past 25 laps into this race. Now Stout goes right underneath the bumper of the 48. I'm glad he didn't make contact because that was close.
It was indeed, and that checkup is going to allow for Bradley Holly to have a little bit of a look here. Ooh, getting a little frisky as they go into 3 and 4. Holly runs Stout up the track a little bit. Stout's going to try to carry momentum around the outside. He's like that high line, but he's washing up big time. Can he keep it off the wall? Yes, just barely, but he's going to lose that position out to Bradley Holly, and here comes Trent Dinkle.
Whew, that high line off of 4 is dangerous. We've seen multiple cars get very close to pancaking the right-hand side. And that's two spots down for Stout, with Dinkle overtaking him as well. In fact, his momentum is gone because here comes Hudson trying to go through as we take a glance now at the battle for P3. Rondoletto peeked inside of O'Brien.
Yeah, he had a little think about it, but we've seen a lot of times Octavio will do those little moves here and there just to kind of test the waters, see what a defensive move from one of his competitors can look like. He is a very, very calculating driver, Octavio Rondoletto. I would not be surprised if he doesn't wait until he's absolutely got it. Here he goes again, thinking about it, going for it into 3 and 4.
Nine's going to give him space. Oh, but look at him touch the white line. The car gets a little shaky. Everybody comes out the other side, thankfully. Rondoletto now up into P3.
Yeah, and that shake there that forced him off the line. Bradley Holly trying to maybe have a look on the back of James O'Brien. Ooh, O'Brien, I think, got into that white line, running up the track a little bit outside of 1 and 2. Here comes Bradley Holly down to the inside of the 9.
Another spot for Holly, potentially. He's passed and into 4th now after starting 10th on lap 30. He is already in the top 2 rows. So now as we look back from Holly at O'Brien, kind of wondering if O'Brien is, well, you mentioned it earlier, is he trying to save his stuff a little bit? Because he's dropped a couple spots recently.
He has, but at this point in the stint, you're 31 laps in. Now, granted, we have been running under yellow a little bit, so that'll save your tires. I'm not seeing anybody else trying to save their stuff, save their tires, anything like that. I think you've got to kind of push for it here. But look at this. We've even got another entrant into this little battle. That's Patrick Cowgill starting to close in on the back.
Yeah, no one running away quite yet. So one little mistake will definitely cost you. And this does feel like it is a momentum track today.
Very much so, Joe. It is all about just being able to set up the move and time your pass, keep that momentum up. If you've got to check up, it's going to set you back 4 or 5 laps.
Rondoletto a little bit wide there. Holly sizing him up. Don't need to ask him twice. 184. Already getting right close to the rear end of Octavio Rondoletto. We hop on board with him. The Juncos Racing vehicle is unfortunately square in the windshield of a rather irritated Bradley Holly.
And look at
there.
Yeah, look at that 48 just wiggle its way through the corner. That car is very, very loose, and Octavio's got his hands full here.
O'Brien got up to the back of the 184 as well for a brief moment. There's a lot of corrections happening with Holly, I am seeing. And his team was saying that it's feeling pretty loose in those cars today, the what-a-back cars.
Yeah, they were indeed telling us that, and you can really tell, yeah, there's micro corrections he's kind of having to do through the corner. The car looks relatively stable when you're looking at it from an outward shot, but all those little things.
Looks like Kalen underneath Hudson now. 43 fights back on the back stretch. Much better shot off the corner. Kalen, no response to the 62. He gets back in line.
Indeed, he does. So there's that momentum playing out around the high side a little bit more, especially I think as these tires go away, that high line through 1 and 2 can be very, very effective here. I'd still be a little scared about going onto it, though, through 3 and 4, as we have just seen the cars want to wash up the track as much as possible, and you really can't take as later of an apex if you're running a high line through those corners.
Last restart was on lap 17 as Cowgill catches up to Kalen, so it's now a 10-car front pack. And we've been green since that lap 17. We're already to lap 36. I'm going to guess that they're starting to feel it.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Joe. You can just kind of see the cars starting to dance a little bit around the track. And, Octavio Rondoletto up front there, not looking like he got that car down to where he would like to. Didn't get the good run off the corner either. 184 of Bradley Holly looking a little bit like he wanted to try for something, but not fully enough to go for it.
Down through 3 and 4 once again. Holly really using every inch of the track here to try and get to Rondoletto and see if he can get an advantage. We watch from the green and black number 48 machine as he's being chased by Bradley Holly. James O'Brien just behind them as well, at times able to catch up. A lot of ebb and flow between the drivers too. Sometimes getting right up there and other times just struggling to keep close to them. Is the washout pretty bad here?
Yeah, it really can be. It's the tight confines of the track. It's high banking. You do get some pretty significant aero wash here, so you've got to be careful of that as you're running. I think that's some of the reason why you're seeing some alternate lines here being driven by the drivers coming into the corners and coming out of the corners. They want to get some clean air onto those front splitters.
Almost an IndyCar style sort of way of racing the track here today. We ride Dinkle now. Watching him through 3 and 4 just in front of him. That is O'Brien. He's putting a lot more pressure on James O'Brien. They do have some lap traffic approaching.
Yeah, they do indeed, Joe. That is the number 4 of Carlos Romero. Octavio very wide coming out of 1 and 2. But he's got himself a nice little gap on either side that's really not going to affect him too much here.
Pretty certain they're going to be catching Romero this next lap. There you can see him up the road. Matthew Long is coming along, and Carlos saying go to the outside. Or no, he's going to the outside, it looks like, as he drifts up high. Nice and wide here through 1 and 2. They've got plenty of space.
Yes, indeed, they do. That's nice and clear, and that's actually going to help out Bradley Holly a little bit. He'll be able to pick up some extra draft. Ooh, that got a little bit squirrely there as they went in, but everybody okay. Rondoletto trying to carry some momentum, but again, drifting wide there on the exit of 4. Everybody through Romero, though, nice and clear in this first pack.
Saw another little wiggle off of 4 from the 48. You were talking earlier about how loose the car looked, and it doesn't seem to have changed in the last 10 laps or so. But he's distanced himself from Bradley Holly, and that's probably the more important thing, and is back with his rival from last round, Abner Acosta. Don't think we're going to be seeing the same shenanigans for that fastest lap tonight.
No, if we see that, somebody is running one heck of a race if they're able to get that much time away, Joe. But yeah, you're right. Octavio Rondoletto still looks very, very loose, but I've never seen that car look like he doesn't have control of it. So that may just be a little bit of a setup thing, that he likes it to run a little bit loose here at this quad oval.
Well, they say loose is fast. We see who are their biggest gainers and biggest losers there. Michael Witt is up 7 spots, so nice job for him. Looks like Robert Besaw Jr. overtaking Kalen. Oh, and Cowgill slapping the wall.
I think Cowgill saw a little bit of an opportunity there on Mark Kalen and tried to go for it, and then quickly realized that high line on the exit of 4 was not going to be his friend. But Cowgill able to regather it, going to come back into line here. Let's see what he does. Oh, but we're side by side up front for second place, Joe.
Rondoletto manages to get to the bottom of the 5, but look at the car start to lose it once again. He drifts up and barely avoids Abner Acosta. That would have been an almighty accident.
It would have indeed. That car was almost fully sideways. A little bit of a checkup there from behind for Bradley Holly. That internal checkup, O'Brien and Dinkle behind him. But Octavio Rondoletto's car looking like it's running a little bit wide again. Here comes Holly to the inside.
Once again, Holly just taking advantage when he sees that momentum interrupted. He sticks his nose in, and now he is even on the podium. So, Holly, who is still amazingly looking for his first win this season. We've had 4 winners in 4 rounds. Rondeletto, O'Brien, Acosta, and Dinkle. Can he make it 5 for 5?
Well, he's certainly going to try to. This is the gearbox riding out in the back of Bradley Holly. There you can see James O'Brien. Octavio just looking looser and looser by every lap. He is praying for a caution, get a fresh set of boots on that 48 machine.
Got to think that somebody's got to pull the trigger and go for green flag stops here. They've had a few of our caution periods to help them on fuel, so they should be able to go, what, about 65 laps potentially? So we see the battle once again between Kalen and this time Pat Harvey to his inside. Boy, Kalen's another one that just seems to be going backwards. We were watching Walden on screen. He's one that's been having a bit of a bad day since he's trying to get through to the playoffs, and he's been dropping position after position.
Yeah, he's down 11 spots on the day is Waldo, and I think for Mark Kalen, he's back down in 12th right now. That's where he started, so this may just be a little bit of falling back to earth, taking advantage of some early incidents to try to get that car to go, but that'll be something interesting to watch if Kalen's got a car that'll go fast in the early stages.
That's the 7 of Goodell, just trying to stay out of the way. Another lapper, unfortunately, just scrounging whatever spots at the finish he can get. Ooh, and O'Brien wants his spot back from Rondeletto, but Rondeletto had to chase that thing up the hill out of turn 4.
Yes, he did. That 48 still looking real squirrely. There you see O'Brien trying to drift up to the high side, maybe carry a little bit of more momentum as they come out of 2. Not going to happen there, but that may open up a little bit of a door behind him. Trent Dinkle in that 501 starting to press and see if he's got anything.
And up in front of them, you can see the blue and black of Bradley Holly. He's been picking them off one by one, making his way forward. Now that he's up to the top 2, I have to think that this is going to be that much harder to try and make these overtakes past both Acosta and Long, who both look quite fast today.
Yeah, indeed they have. He may be hoping for a little bit of pit strategy to help him out. He may just have to do a full send type of situation here for Bradley Holly. We're hearing the first of our pitters coming out. Trent Dinkle calling out that he's coming down pit lane. It looks like Rondeletto, but that's O'Brien that he got into.
Rondeletto tried to slow up for a pit stop, and someone didn't get the memo. I think he got in. Do we have a caution? No.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head there, Joe. Rondeletto trying to slow down, and just right into the back of him went one of his rivals, James O'Brien.
And that was not only a big hit into the back of Octavio, but he hit the wall pretty hard as well, and O'Brien announcing he's pitting. No shocker there.
Right into that right rear quarter panel. Just a big thwap there for Rondeletto.
And impressively, I think he's gotten into pit lane, without a penalty. He hit his speed limit as he came in through the cones, had a normal pit stop, but unfortunately it just cost him a lot of time in the process.
Yeah, it certainly did, but up front, we've now got a pack of 3 that's sort of broken away from the rest of the field here. This is Long, Acosta, and Holly trying to run out their luck, see how long they can go.
If this stays green, they're going to get swallowed up, but they're hoping to trap a number of cars a lap down. We still are waiting about 13 of them to take scheduled stops here. And I can tell you from what I can see from pictures, the car of O'Brien is not looking very good after that incident.
No, it's definitely got a little bit of damage to that left front of it. But here's the thing, Joe. We're going to have to see what shakes out with these leaders when they come into the pits. But Rondeletto is currently the highest placed pitter right now, so it will be a battle between them. He is a lap down, but they've only got about a corner on him the way it's going.
even with the damage that he likely got out of that hit, he's running 29-second laps, 29.8, 29.6. Yeah. So Octavio is easily faster than all those who have yet to pit and is going to be jumping them. I'm hearing Mark Kalin announcing he's on his way in. Looks like the three of Besaw Jr. pitting.
Indeed, waiting to see if any of this lead pack will go, but Acosta gets a great run off of 4. Is he going to try to take a look here on Matthew Long? Not yet. I do have to say, though, Joe, these 3 drivers that are staying out here, Long, Acosta, and Holly, this is going to be in their favor, potentially, if the yellows fall right, and they've got a little bit extra tires at the end.
Right on board with Acosta. You can see him gaining down the backstretch, lift it a little bit, and let Long go there into 3 and 4. They're now down to 8 cars left waiting to pit, and everybody who has pit is a lap down, so they will absolutely be trapped if we get a yellow here. This is the danger zone for them.
It very much is, but here's the problem. Octavio Rondoletto is actually coming up behind them. He's still running low 130s, high 30s, low 29. You know what I mean. Low 30s, high 29s. There we go. I got that finally.
Fast laps.
Yeah, he's going quick. He's going very quickly out on the track, and so he's catching them. I think these guys have got to dive in. Otherwise, they may lose touch, and Octavio may be in a little bit of a league all to himself.
He's most likely going to have the lead, but will he be fast over a run? That is the question. And I see Holly moving down. That, to me, says that the 184 is likely to be coming in. He wants to make sure Hilton on his high side stays outside. But no, not this time for Holly quite yet. He'll stay out. Wow.
Joe, they're just keeping it on the best they can, but they are about a full second down on pace to just look pit.
Rondoletto a full 3 seconds ahead of Trent Dinkle, the next one down, who has pitted. So he's got a massive gap. Oh, and we're going 3 wide behind them. The 20 stuck in the middle. That's Skip Gandy going past Baron Hilton and Danny Cervantes, and Rondoletto's the one behind that watching, going, please, guys, let's keep this hole.
And they go 3 wide again. That's a big checkup from Rondoletto behind the 25 of Danny Cervantes. Very lucky nothing bad came from that, Joe.
My goodness, this is getting really sketchy with the cars on so many different strategies. In fact, look at that, diving all the way down. The 48 really wants to get through. He's trying not to waste momentum, and he is going to be able to get past both Cervantes and the 20 of Skip Gandy. Now he's facing off with Hutchison there in the 1, another lap down car before he catches up to the 184, trying to get his lap back from the top 3.
Holly's very loose there going wide, and here comes Rondoletto on the leaders to get his lap back. This will be a massive advantage for Rondoletto, and what it will probably do is if they're thinking about pitting on this lap, they are not going to be able to because Rondoletto will be down on their inside, and indeed, there he goes.
Yeah, multiple cars down below them, and they're not going to attempt it this time. Cervantes also charging through them. Everybody's got to keep their wits about them at this point. Little mistakes could have catastrophic results in this type of pack.
Yeah, it really could. And with that 3 wide that we saw, that is just a recipe for disaster. Okay, here they go again. There's going to be drivers down to their inside for these leaders of Long and Acosta. There's the call from Bradley Holly. He's going to be coming down pit lane.
All right, so he at least is coming in, but not Acosta and Long. Long maybe could have if he wanted to. Acosta definitely didn't have an opening. So Holly down to his pit stall. And this will be interesting. We'll get to see just how much he's lost to guys like Rondoletto and Dinkle, who he was close to before.
Yeah, exactly, Joe. This is going to be the real litmus test here to see exactly what happens as he comes out right now. Waiting to see as Rondoletto goes on by. I don't even know if Holly's moving yet.
He's going, and it was a big question mark for Holly. He was very hot into the pit lane, locking up his tires. Thankfully, no penalty for him, but oh my goodness. He's even farther back than where he started this race, 12th, 13th. And I think even Pat Harvey is going to get by him along with Charlie Sumner here.
Yeah, that's not going to be great. I will say the one thing that will maybe play into his advantage here is he was able to go a little bit longer, and so he'll have more tires to use. He'll have 3 new sets here, as here comes Acosta into the pits, I believe. Long and Hudson both staying out.
The other interesting thing about this is that the tires are just not lasting here. Rondeletto's already down to 30.4s, so assuming that a 184. Oh, and the 5 misses pit stall in a big way. He's having to do multiple checkups to try and get it in the right spot. Oh, my goodness. Acosta is probably going to be down, if not half a lap, a full lap, just from having to try and get his car back into position.
And here comes Matthew Long coming down pit lane. He'll hope to avoid that same kind of calamity that his rival there, Acosta, did. Locks it up a little bit. Did he get it right? Yes, he did. He's good.
And as I was saying before we saw what was going on with Acosta, Holly is actually roughly a full second a lap faster than Octavio right now. So he can start to catch up since his tires are now fresher, but he's got a long road to go.
Yeah, and we've seen just how much track position can be important here as Bradley Holly is going to be diving down to the inside of Long, try to go forward here, gets past Sumner. Woo, big wiggle there.
Gets back up into the high side. And is that? Nope, that is a different car in front of him. Thought for a second that was Acosta that was about to get lapped by him. That's Brandon Walter there. Where did Acosta wind up? Acosta's in 19th with a cone-to-cone that was 10 seconds longer than the average stop for everybody else. So very costly there for the number 5.
Very, very much so. And with that number 5, remember, he did win last round, so he is secure in terms of the overall year-long playoff bracket. But when it comes to Season 4 standings, this is going to be an absolute knife to the heart.
Yeah, he's probably one of the ones really wishing for a caution here along with O'Brien. And I think the frustrating thing for the team's championship is that's both of our private labeled guys.
Yeah, big time. That's going to be a big shuffle. Remember, I said there's about 17 points between them and Wadaback, and this may be the chance that Wadaback needs to start to claw back in on that Season 4 team's championship.
So with the first set of pit stops done, here's your refresher. Rondeletto leads. It's about 2.5 seconds over Trent Dinkle, who does seem to be gaining on him slightly. Robert Besaw Jr. a little ways back, now runs in third. And Michael Witt, now that is a guy that snuck in. We were talking about him briefly early in the race, but otherwise not really showing much of the 26. He's got himself up to 4th in the pit sequence.
Yeah, up 17 positions, and he kind of did a nice little split strategy there. He came in on lap 54 to get new tires, so I think that just played out right where it wants to be. We have to keep an eye on that. Bradley Holly, though, he is on a charge. We heard here earlier how he was ready to fight here today, and that's exactly what he's doing. Already up into P7, trying to work his way even farther forward.
Wow, to make that P6 already, he's just overtaken Waldo Walden. Waldo, I think, must have taken a early stop because he jumped up a bunch of spots himself. And yeah, Bradley Holly's already only 5.5 seconds behind Rondeletto, and I can see the time dropping as I watch my tower.
Yeah, indeed, he is just on a charge here. Up ahead of him now, he's got Skip Gandy and Raphael Hubi and Michael Witt to get by, but the way that 184 is driving, I don't think it's going to take too long to get on by. Indeed, right on by Skip Gandy. There he is, and he sets his eyes on the 21.
Had quite a long green flag run, though. Will we get anything else, especially with cars on all different strategies underneath the 21 of Hubie? Stays up high. He knows that it's going to be hard to try and hold back a very fast 184. Doesn't really do much to try and challenge him. Now through 3 and 4. Holly might actually be able to see Rondeletto up ahead of him.
Yeah, Rondeletto There he is right there, dealing with a little bit of lap traffic around him. The gap back to Trent Dinkel holding at about 1.3 seconds or so as of right now.
Just hit halfway mark here. Also, another driver gaining is Besaw Jr. on Dinkel for second. So the 501 on about 5 lap older tires himself than the third place car right now. They're going to be joined by Holly because he's now caught up to Michael Witt, and there he goes through before we can really give it much time.
And remember, those are 10-lap fresher tires for Bradley Holly, and you're really seeing it here. He's running right now about 30.2s. Everybody else around him running in the high 30s. Rondoletto last lap was a 31.1.
I'm starting to think that Holly might have had the right idea on this. If he's got anything left in those tires by the time he reaches Rondoletto, Octavio really he's not going to be able to guard against him.
No, he's not. The only question here is going to be is if Holly's able to get up close enough to him by the time his tires, in turn, wear out a little bit. But we will have to see. I'm not seeing a lot of aggressive driving here out of Octavio. I think he's trying to conserve as much as possible.
Okay, you see the 184 on your screen. Has it down to 2.3 seconds to our overall leader, who's still dropping time. It's down to 31.2s. For Octavio. Holly running 30.3s, and this is where things get a little sketchy as he almost makes contact. Car bobbles. He catches it, but Robert Besaw Jr. gave him a car's width and nothing more.
No, and Besaw was a little bit pinned down there. That was Danny Cervantes up to his high side. And running that middle groove through 3 and 4, we've seen how slippery that can be, but Holly able to gather everything up, keep going here. He's going to have a move on the second place of Trent Dinkel right now. Pokes his nose to the inside. Those grippier tires, I think it's going to propel him right on through 3 and 4.
Hugging that bottom line. Dinkel's giving him a little bit of a fight. He holds on, but there goes Holly. No, still having some overlap. Not able to cut up in front of him quite yet. Even as he's fighting with this third place driver, he's still gaining time on Rondoletto. It is down to 0.4 of a second. Rondoletto can see him in his mirrors now. How quickly can Holly take this lead away? I was not sure about this strategy initially, DJ, but this has proved a masterstroke for Bradley.
Yeah, it really has. And here he comes, Rondoletto getting squirrely again. Here comes Holly to the inside.
For the lead here on lap 79. And there is Bradley Holly up to the front for the first time this race. Octavio Rondoletto back to second place. Besaw Jr. still in P3, having managed to get by Trent Dinkel. Well, now that we've done all that and things look like they're kind of settling into place, when do we get our next round of pit stops? We're all over the place in terms of who needs to pit when, with Holly being some of the freshest tires out there. Not the freshest, by the way. Chris Hudson has only 13 laps on his, and he's in 11th and also gaining positions.
He is Cowgill, another one who's starting to rise up a little bit here. He came in on the same lap, roughly thereabouts, as Bradley Holly did. He's starting to come through.
Rondoletto losing the spot here. The 3 just got by, and Trent Dinkel is going to try and take him off the podium now. As he gets underneath him through 1 and 2. These two on a little bit more even tires between each other. So it's taking a little longer. And Dinkel is now fully past him. So Rondoletto gets shoved outside the podium positions on lap 81.
Octavio really not having the best run here at all, but I've got to say, looking up the road, Bradley Holly pulling a big gap. It's up to about 1.2 seconds.
Remember Acosta's bad time in the pit stop? Well, he's back up to 13th, and critically, he's still on the lead lap. He's about half a lap behind from our leader right now, trying to make up time. He's on 2 lap fresher tires than Bradley Holly, so he has a small advantage in that regard. But what he really needs right now probably is a caution to reset everyone so he can make up the lost time.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of these drivers that aren't named Bradley Holly are really hoping for right now. Let's go back and check out this replay. Rondeletto almost losing it here.
So let's see, down into turn 1. We've seen a few cars get loose, especially on that bottom line. Oh, and yeah, it goes way up the hill and suddenly slow.
Another big bobble here coming up for Octavio. Earlier on, you can see that car start to try to break away on him already. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Octavio being a real will man out here today and able to hold that car.
We talked about Patrick Cowgill gaining spots. He's already working on Waldo Walton for 8th place. There you see him on screen on the low side in the yellow and black. Walden has no response, and Hudson is going to overtake him as well. Walden on some of the oldest tires out there of the many drivers. Tried to undercut as many as he could. Those around him 10 laps or more fresher tires than what he's got. Oh man, Rondeletto just lost 5th place now, or 4th place rather.
Yeah, Matthew Long able to get back on by him. Oh, that 48 just does not look like it likes this Texas heat. Not driving at all well out there, Joe.
We might get more green flag stops here pretty soon, as we haven't had a caution since that second one on the day. And like I said, we've got some drivers that are already up to 35 laps of green flag racing. With all that heat, is it worth it to try and stop that little bit sooner? Here we're hearing Carlos Romero saying he's coming in.
Yeah, Romero saying he is coming in. Michael Witt, very lucky not to have completely lost, or Mark Kalin rather, very lucky not to have lost the car as we jump back to this little battle. That's Abner Acosta being able to fight his way back up and forward. That's him up into 8th place, getting by Mark Kalin.
Next on his list is Patrick Cowgill. Cowgill might actually be kind of pushing his way through the crowd for him a little bit. Looks like Patrick 2-lap older tires than what Abner has. We ride on board now with Cowgill. Watch him lean into the corners.
This is out the rear of Cowgill's car there. You can see him as he's trying to work his way around. Once again, those just sort of micro corrections that he's having to do around this track as it just continues to loosen up.
I think he had more than micro corrections through 1 and 2. There was a lot of sawing away at that wheel. Let's see if he's just as loose this time. He was coming off the corner that, see him, yeah, look at that thing. And it's offering up a good run to the number 5. Yeah, 31's not going to fight it. He sees Acosta, gives him the space. Going to hold on around the outside for a little bit here. And he carries on the fight through the quad oval. So I thought Cowgill wasn't going to really make much of a fuss about this, but he's making Acosta use up some of his stuff.
Yeah, he is certainly going at it here. So let's see what they can do. Cowgill tries to go around the outside to make it work.
But look at this. He's got his teammate there. He can box him in, and he does. Great help from James O'Brien to force the 31 down low. And now the pass is done for Acosta into 7th place.
All right there. So a little bit of teamwork going on for those private label team hype boys, but getting broken up ever so slightly. Trent Dinkle, though, up front, starting to chase down Robert Beesoff, World P2.
What does he like compared to Holly as well, actually? Let me check those lap times. 31.3 for Dinkle, 31.2 for Holly. So he's just a slight bit slower than our overall leader right now. There you see the 501 from on top of his roof, getting close to the 3.
Indeed, starting to close down, seeing what he's got here as they make their way around, tucking up behind in that draft. Let's see what Dinkle chooses to do here. Remember, Dinkle's tires are going to be a little bit older than Robert Besaw. He came in on lap 51, Besaw coming in on lap 56.
Certainly seems to have the speed, even with those older tires. Within 0.2 of a second of Robert, who started this race all the way down in 13th. So he's made up more ground than even Bradley Holly has in front of him. And Besaw's losing a little bit of time trying to catch the car there. Dinkle knows it. He tries to stay low down through the quad oval. Oh, and the 3 had a big moment there, trying to come down into 1. He manages to find the racing line, and oh, now it's Dinkle, the one getting loose on the low side, as behind them the 4 of Romero with his fresh rubber is getting involved, but he's many laps down, so he's trying not to complicate things too badly with them. Matthew Long makes it a 3-way fight for P2.
This is getting a little bit spicy here with about 94 laps to go. I would anticipate the next round of pit stops and looking to come in between about 35 to 45 to go, probably, if we continue to stay green here. Now, as we watch this battle, Long able to stay low, coming out of 1 and 2, tucking back up behind Robert Besaw Jr. Is that 28 going to be able to get down to the low side, coming through 3? It looks like he is.
So move Matthew Long into 3rd place now. This is all happening roughly 3 seconds behind Bradley Holly, who's been leading the fields for a number of laps at this point. And now we get a caution. Scotty Johnson, I think, may be the one involved in this one. He comes to a halt on the backstretch. Did he blow an engine? I'm trying to see. I don't see anything for the 07. Just mysteriously pulls it over to the side, and unfortunately, iRacing called the yellow for that one.
I'm not sure here. Let's listen on board, Joe.
No, must have had some sort of hardware problem. Very strange. We're going to look a little bit farther back.
I'm seeing that he got disconnected due to incoming packet loss, Joe.
He must have seen everybody disappear and decided it's safest to try and pull off the track. It's a bit of a shame that that caused the caution, though. That's a new one for me. A driver causing a yellow because he loses connection but hasn't totally lost connection to the server. And I expect, and I can see, pretty much everybody coming down into pit lane now.
Yeah, there's really no reason not to here at this point, Joe. Everybody's going to want to try to come in, take tires and fuel the best that they can. They should be able to run to the end on this, but you don't want to take any chances.
Speaking of taking chances, hopefully everybody is able to hit their marks this time. Let's see if we get anybody running long into their pit stall. 21 definitely missed that one. He's going to be a little slow off the lane. And it looks like Holly is out ahead of Long, but just barely. That got close. Besaw Jr. going to be the next one through. Dinkle out in 4th. And how about Abner Acosta? We said he needed a caution. He is coming back in 5th here. That actually timed out perfectly for the 5.
Absolutely spot on for Abner. So those title hopes in Season 4 not exactly out of the woods yet. Looking back down through the field, I see Waldo Walden, one of the guys we featured here, back down in 12th right now. Patrick Cowgill, after his good run, he is in 7th. Mark Kaneland in 8th. Octavio Rondoletto, though, all the way down in 17th.
It was a 32-second stop. I'm going to guess that he took some repairs. Remember how loose he was? I wonder if some of that is the damage to the rear of the car, so he's trying his best to see if he can get it back into shape. Gave up some track position, but he does have a fast car today, so maybe he can work his way back through.
Yeah, we're definitely hearing confirmation of that right now. The Rondoletto stationary for 32 seconds over a lot of other folks. So that is going to be late for him. Danny Cervantes hopping back down pit lane again. I'm imagining he's going to try to top off. James O'Brien looks like he's going down there as well. I think both of them are going to be trying to get some repairs done.
Now, wasn't Cervantes or O'Brien supposed to get the lucky dog here? Thought that one of our drivers a lap down, since we didn't really have an accident, should have gotten the wave around. We do have a few ahead of Holly. Hilton and Hutchison are going to be able to go through. And we are hearing that the 25 of Cervantes did get the lucky dog.
So that'll reshuffle them back around, and just to kind of re-rack here for you as we get ready to go racing here, when I anticipate being the next lap by, Holly, Long, Besaw, Dinkle, and Acosta, your top 5.
So I think we should get lights out this time by. Allow those 2 cars to get back onto the lead lap. Well, in the case of Hutchison on the lead lap, Baron Hilton unfortunately going to go to, I believe, 4 laps down from this one.
Yeah, I believe that's right.
There we go.
Yep, there he goes on by right now, and we're getting ready to go. I think lights are off on the iRacing pace car.
They are indeed. Restarting on lap 101. Here is where it gets interesting. So they're going to have, if they stay green, about 45 laps on these tires. Now, the fuel is not going to be an issue. They should easily be able to make that, but who can manage them well enough for that long of a stint if we go green all the way to the end?
Yeah, that's going to be the real question. This has been a race that is largely tire determined. We are hearing that we've had Ryan Goodell blow his engine here, so that is going to be a driver out.
And though we thought we had 4 out earlier, that's only the second one, I think, that is now really, truly gone. Joao Guerra, the other one that has not returned to the track. Pennington, Romero's back in there, Hilton, and many others have managed to get the cars fixed and is rolling, trying to scalp some positions. Meanwhile, the iRacing pace car going to release Bradley Holly. It's in the lane. Holly's going to wait a bit on this one, giving it some time, giving it a lot of time, and now he is on it. Green flag is out. Matthew Long tries to cut down, but the 3 of Besaw is already there. Just can't cover him off. Besaw could take this second place away. It looks like Trent Dinkle might follow him through.
Yeah, Dinkle trying to hold on to that low line the best that he can. He's going to be able to draw alongside that left rear quarter panel of the 28. He's going to try to make the move now down, going into turn 3 and 4. But with new rubber, I fancy the 28's chances on that high side now that they're getting up to speed.
Can he get the shot off the turn? He's about even with Trent Dinkle down the front stretch, vying for 3rd place, and behind them, Abner Acosta rising like a phoenix from the ashes to try and see if he could do something in this race. And Long likes that high side here at the start. Look at him hanging out.
Going a little contrary to what you and I talked about earlier there, Joe, but it is working out for Matthew Long, and so now the top 5 running line astern right here. A little bit of a checkup, I think, there up front, but 6th and 7th looking good as well.
This is a battle with Cowkill in there. Whit Hudson. Oh, and we just had a big moment with Long sticking his nose underneath our leader of Bradley Holly. Long got a little bit loose, caught the car, but now he's got the overlap.
He does indeed. He'll be down to the inside into 3 and 4. Robert Besaw Jr. thinking about going with him here. We ride on board with Bradley Holly as he tries to make that high line work. You see there him sawing at the wheel, trying to keep it straight. Momentum comes back to Holly as they cross over the timing and scoring line.
Remember, at the start of this race, Long was one of those that looked extremely strong, especially in clear air. Now that he's got it in front of him, can he get the job done and hold off Bradley Holly? Holly fights back out of 2. carries the speed down the backstretch. The 21 keeps with him at the quarter panel, sends it in deep into 3. Can he get fully clear? It looks like he is.
Looked like a little bit of a bobble there for Bradley Holly. He's thinking about trying to get a crossover here if he can, but he's not going to be able to get it going down the main straight, and they now dive down into 1 and 2. Holly's going to go there. Ooh, almost contacted the back there between Cowgill and Trent Dinkle.
Looking 3 wide for a brief moment. Dinkle losing the speed, and now Kalen comes up to his inside. Chris Hudson behind him in the 43, and in the background you'll catch glimpses of a green and white 48. Rondoletto already up to 12th.
Octavio trying to make up for some lost time here as he works his way around there. You can see everybody. Whoa, big jostle there in front. I think that was Michael Witt and Chris Hudson getting a little squirrely coming through the quad oval.
Yeah, they nearly came together. That would have been a huge wreck if they had spun in front of the whole field there. On to the backstretch once again. They know that this is coming down to the last stages of this race. And up at the front, look at Holly. Oh, and Holly gets underneath the 28. Beautiful run off of turn 4. Is it going to be fully clear by the time they get to turn 1? Long's going to try and fight back. He chucks it into the corner.
Chucks it in, trying to run that momentum line, but Bradley Holly with such a good run out of 4 is going to be able to at least be slightly ahead when they get onto the backstretch. Look at Bradley Holly, not so much as looking to the outside there. A quick glance before he turns into the corner, trying to keep that thing down on the white line. Tried to be a little bit of a pinch there for Matthew Long, but Holly keeps it tugged down on the low side.
Don't forget about Besaw Jr. back there along with Abner Acosta. They could take advantage if something happens between those two or they start fighting too hard. And remember, we don't know if we're going to get any more cautions in this race. So with them fighting side by side, that has got to be eating up their tires.
And rest assured that Robert Besaw Jr. and Abner Acosta both know that. Oh, almost contact there between the two as they go into 3. But that is going to be Holly back up into the lead. Crossover complete there. He's fully clear.
And that stone face from Bradley Holly once again. He just is a machine out here. Back up to the lead. They're going to go single file now behind them as well. Besaw Jr., Acosta, and Cowgill to round out your top 5. And way down to the bottom, Octavio Rondoletto, we saw him in the background still vying for positions.
Ooh, Octavio almost coming to blows there with the 57 of Adam Zemke. You can see him again. Whoa, Octavio almost fully sideways coming out of 4.
Playing with fire a little bit here. Rondoletto is not in the playoffs. He is just in the championship hunt for season 4. So for him, he really isn't concerned about just bringing the car home. He wants to try and get as many points as he can with how close this fight has been with guys like O'Brien. And James O'Brien, speaking of which, is still down in 21st. This is a great opportunity for Rondoletto to put a massive gap between himself and last season's champion.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're going to focus our eyes back up front again as Matthew Long trying to eye back in on Bradley Holly. Backed off a little bit. I think he's just trying to set up the run. Behind him, Abner Acosta almost looking like he wants to go for something as well, but Abner backs off.
Things finally starting to cool down a little bit amongst our front runners. Watch from Matthew Long. Taking these tremendous speeds around this track, over 180 miles an hour that they do here at Texas Motor Speedway. He starts to drift up a little bit compared to the 184. Doesn't lose too much time. The 3 is getting close behind him, though.
Yeah, but I think he mistimed that run a little bit. The 3 had to check up. Abner Acosta knew that. He's starting to close in. Here comes Long thinking about a move as well as they cross over the timing and scoring line. Long's going to get a little bit of a crossover. There it is. He's going to go down to the inside. Holly's got to go high.
Wow, this is a lot of swapping for positions. We don't usually see this much here in the Cup Series, as guys tend to try and play the long game. A little bit of a pump draft down the backstretch from Bradley Holly. He's saying, hurry up and go. We're bringing in some friends.
Yes, he is, because this whole leading pack here, all the way first back to 10th, separated by only a second. This is anybody's game here, and if we've got a big kerfluffle that goes on up front, wow! That was Kalen that almost lost it coming through the quad oval.
Thankfully, the car keeps going. And speaking of 10th place, guess who's in it right now? Rondoletto, cracking into the top 10.
Octavio not to be denied here. He is making some moves, trying to get his way forward and right on board with the nose of that car.
Ooh, the 3 thinking about the high side, switches back to behind. Bradley Holly thought maybe he was going to have a move the long way around. And that actually checked up the 5 of Acosta briefly onto the front stretch. Here's 3 wide, back in the pack with Rondoletto doing some amazing stuff here. Unfortunately, though, he's going to lose his spot as Zemke goes underneath him.
Yes, he is. Acosta, though, up front, able to get that low line working around Robert Besaw Jr., and he looks like he's almost got the overlap. Besaw's going to try to keep it up. There's a little bit of a block there from Acosta. He is fully up to third.
I think this is going to be a bit of a freight train there because Calgill has already got underneath him. Top 7 right now are all playoff contenders, so the cream has risen to the top.
Yeah, it has. This is exactly what you expect and hope for out of a NASCAR Cup race, and that's exactly what these playoff contenders are giving us here. We watch Patrick Calgill as he tries to make his way by Robert Besaw Jr. Acosta just ahead of him. That was Besaw poking his nose a little bit lower there, seeing what he can get out of 2.
There are less than 30 laps to go now. And I'm starting to see a bit of a breakaway. That fighting between Acosta and Besaw Jr. put them just about a quarter of a second behind to the top 2. But now, he's already reeling it in, coming off of turn 4. Making a liar out of me. So Abner has got the bit between his teeth. Maybe it's Holly that's dropping back. He's losing touch with Long. Oh, and side-by-side, Dinkel making contact with a 31. That sends him up the hill. He catches it. Kalen coming in behind him. Thankfully, no wreck from that, but definitely some door banging in the mid-pack.
Yeah, definitely some door banging, and here we are with Octavio Rondoletto running side-by-side with Adam Zemke. This is for the 10th place position as Octavio has to fall back into line.
Yeah, he got extremely loose once again. I definitely think the rear bumper getting misshapen on that 48 has affected the handling of that car. It's just not looked the same ever since he ran into O'Brien. As they come down the back stretch, the 84 of Walden poking his nose but can't do anything with it. That's also the 21 of Hubie behind them in 13th.
Yeah, looks like he's really stalling out there, but up front we continue to watch here. Matthew Long getting a little bit of a gap on Bradley Holly. I think Holly may want to just kind of cool the tires here a little bit. 25 laps to go, thereabouts. He knows what's at stake. He also doesn't want to go for a bonsai attack and risk losing a spot here to Acosta from behind.
Down through the quad oval. Carlos Romero just staying out of everybody's way. Taylor Stout talked about someone giving him a push. Not sure if he's low on fuel or something happened, or if he's just kidding around out there.
Not entirely sure either, Joe, but if Chris Hudson looks like he's trying to close in a little bit on the back of Patrick Calgill here. This is for 6th position.
Calgill seems to have run out of rubber because the 43, let's see what last lap looked like, 30.9 for Hudson. Calgill a 31 flat. So about a 10th faster that time around. There's the comparison on your screen. And yeah, pretty consistently, the 43 has been chopping away.
Yeah, just slowly but surely getting into it. Calgill, I think, just losing a little bit of touch with the leaders here as they... Whoa! We're getting a little spicy up front. That's Acosta making a move to the outside on Bradley Holly.
This is for 2nd place, and the 5 looks like he's clear. He is. Abner Acosta gets by his longtime rival, Bradley Holly, but what can he do with Matthew Long in front of him?
Not sure. We'll have to see. We're getting some new... we're getting some news that Cowgill may be running a little bit hot. Some damage that he took, some door banging, and maybe running that car a little bit hot. That was him falling off. But Holly falling back off the pace here. That's Besaw Jr. now by him.
Besaw wanted to pull up into the racing line, but he was not clear. Both of them get a little squiggly there on the back stretch. Thankfully, now they have been able to get into line. Watch the onboard little sigh of relief there for a moment from Bradley Holly, and then chatting away to somebody within his team.
Yeah, indeed, but Bradley's got somebody else to worry about. As Trent Dinkle had a little bit of a look on him going down to the inside. Whoa, you can see how squirrely that car is.
I think he took the air off him there. He got right up to that quarter panel. Dinkle just giving Holly a little bit of a virtual nudge. And once again, Holly touching that white line. The car does not like it. It starts to drift up high. Dinkle's going to be able to get underneath. Trent's got fourth, just like that.
Bada bing, bada boom, as they say, gets on by in that 5:01 in fourth. Bradley Holly now just has to sort of gather his apples back up again and try this to go.
Bad news. I'm getting some blinking from Acosta. Hopefully that clears up. It's not the first time we've seen that from the 5 car. And as he approaches Matthew Long, if we have a battle for the lead and Acosta's still having internet troubles, then that's going to make life very frustrating for both of them.
Yes, it is. You do not want to see a blink at 160 miles an hour at a very tight race like this at Texas. So very tight across the field.
Besaw seems like he's got some pace underneath them. He's gotten to the back of Acosta and left Bradley Holly behind here. Could Besaw be a bit of a dark horse in these final 25 some odd laps that we have?
He might be. Robert's been doing a really good job just putting that car where it needs to be, not making too many aggressive moves early. He's doing a great job to keep it up there, but I'm sorry, if Abner Acosta is up there in that leading 3 as we get down to the last 5 laps, that 5 is going to be another car to watch out for.
Whoa, somebody loose. That was the 3. Besaw Jr. going across the grass, and all those spots that he just took slipped through his fingers. Dinkle up to 3rd. Holly into 4th. Let's get a replay. And let's stay on board here all the way into turn 1 because Holly actually almost got tipped around. Let's watch the hands here of Besaw Jr. And stick with us into turns 1 and 2 because some more action definitely happens as soon as we cut away. Ooh, yeah, catching it, and then here comes Holly. Tries to get in front of him. No! Whoa! This is getting a little sketchy out there.
Ay, Joe. This is getting very, very sketchy. These guys, yes, you've got fenders on the car, but you still got to bring the thing home, boys.
We are on lap 131 at this point. Holly is still having to play defense because Besaw Jr.'s got the thing underneath him now. He is trying to get back into 4th. So we are now less than 15 laps to go in this race. We haven't seen a caution since that last one. We still have a lot of drivers with tires left. If we do get a yellow, you have to think that plenty of them are going to be jumping into pit lane to take advantage of the extra pace they could gain. And Holly, as we've been riding on board on the bumper, is actually leaving Besaw behind now.
Yes, he is, but we've got to look up front because that is Abner Acosta. We get down here in these closing stages, and he's starting to close up to the back of the number 28. We are hearing reports, by the way, that it was a little bit of tire heating of an issue there for Bradley Holly. That's why he was struggling so much. His tires are now cooled down, and he is on the attack.
You've seen this story before from Acosta. Coming from the roadside, he is very much at home on all the road courses. At the Roval, he dominated the field, took the win, and a few other times here in this series and other seasons, he would win on road courses and then go on to repeat wins after that. Confidence boosted, carrying his momentum. Is this what we're seeing today?
Well, we talked about it before, Joe. A lot of driving like this, it's just a head game. You've got to be able to get in the right headspace, and success begets success. If you come in week after week winning and you keep on that, you're likely to keep going.
Oh, but what does Dinkle have to say about this? We're on the nose of Acosta, but behind, here you see Trent Dinkle is now closing in. Long charged forward. Did he use up too much grip and is now paying the price at the end?
Well, that's always the question here, and Dinkle has been one that hasn't made a lot of super aggressive moves. He's just been waiting back in the shadows, tries to get to the outside there of Abner Acosta, not doing it there. He's now going to see what he's got through 3 and 4, not going for an alternate line. He's going to stick in line here. It looks like he's trying to time this up right.
He's following in the tire tracks of Abner Acosta. We are now at 10 laps to go. What a race this has been. Looking a little bit up high. He leaves the door open. Dinkle tries to get through. And Acosta's got to watch out. The car gets loose. Here comes Trent.
He's trying to stick his nose down. He's got a little bit of overlap, and he's got more as they go down into 3. Dinkle now holding the car low. Acosta trying to hold onto that high line and carry momentum. Oh, big slide for Dinkle.
Oh, Trent Dinkle catching the car, and behind him, the 3 for the second time goes through the grass. This time, I think it was from a hit with the wall as Bradley Holly overtakes Trent now into 3rd place.
Bradley Holly says, thank you very much. My tires are cooler now. I'd like to get back up to that leading position. So here he comes. He's got a little bit of room to make up here with 9 to go on Abner Acosta. But if anybody can do it, it's that 184.
This last stint has been a steady build, and we get a caution now. It is Pat Harvey and Octavio Rondoletto, championship leader, involved in the wreck in the final stages. This happens between himself and Hubie.
Oh my goodness, there it is. All right, so that's Harvey down to the inside. Yeah, that's Harvey down to the inside. Rondoletto up high. Oh, just a sandwich there. I don't think they knew they were clear.
No. Hubie had no place to go. Very much an innocent victim in that one. To his credit, he actually got out of it pretty decently. This is Harvey. Wow. One more look at it here. And you will see as they come together that Hubie is able to just kind of keep rolling, although I'm sure he got a little damage out of it. And Rondoletto, unfortunately, not the same case. Car goes around, tips into the wall, hard smack on the right side there for Harvey. And as I was predicting, everybody is in for tires.
And that's the right call here, Joe. You've got to get that fresh set of boots on. It looks like Long is going to be able to get out and stay in front. Acosta will line up behind him. Dinkle. Besaw is able to, I think, or no, it looks like it's going to be given back to Bradley Holly.
Oh, nope, there he goes back. Okay, so they got it sorted out finally. And the 3 was given 4th place. So not many changes up at the front there. Oof, so what are we going to get here on this restart? Is this going to be a 4-lap shootout?
I think it roughly will be there or thereabouts. We're hearing a lot of drivers putting some extra tape on the car. That's going to make them more aerodynamic, a little bit more slippery. They'll be able to go faster because it's going to be such a quick run to the line. They don't have to worry as much about overheating.
Couple cars getting their laps back. Looks like Pennington. Oh, and nope, they're going to be pitting in. Hilton, James O'Brien, Carlos Romero's are coming in for service, but Hutchison will up in front of them as we check the onboard with Bradley Holly. Is he getting a... No, he's getting a snack. I thought he was going to get a drink. Just just refreshing himself. There we go. There's a little bit of a sip. Get that energy in. You got to be prepared and ready.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to be ready to go. And Bradley, it will be a little bit of an advantage here for him. He'll be starting out in 5th. And so that means he'll have the low line coming through 1 and 2. Now, provided that Long and Dinkle get a good jump, he may be able to get a good run there on the guys in front of him. That'll have to be seen.
Okay, and we are not double file, so it will likely be a 3-lap shootout. Now, one thing we need to mention, they do have a green-white checkers in this series. 1 attempt at it, and I don't think we're anywhere near the time limit for this race, so I think we're good on that. But the thing with the green-white checkers is if they get to the white flag under green, the yellow will not come out. If they do get a yellow in the next 2 laps, then they will go to overtime and have a green-white checker finish. That'll give them 2 laps to try and finish the race. If they get a caution on the first lap back to green, that ends it. If they do not, they go the full 2 laps, and that decides the race.
All right, so lights are still on here as we get ready to get going.
There they go.
Yep, clearing out those lap cars.
Lights are out. 3-lap shootout after all of this. And how about Matthew Long coming in and showing what he's made of? This is certainly going to help him in the points championship because he came in 10th, and also helps clear him in the playoffs as well, as it will automatically put him through to the round of 8 if he gets this win. So multiple things that Long is vying for here. Some of the drivers look like they are trying to heat their tires up. We saw the restart at the very beginning of this race and what happens there, so I kind of don't blame them, DJ.
Yeah, I don't either, and track temperatures have cooled a little bit. It's down to 89 degrees on track surface, so it is a little bit chillier, and they are going to want to make sure that you don't lose any of that rear grip coming through 1 and 2.
Wow, unbelievable stuff here as the pace car gets ready to peel off. It's going to give control to Matthew Long. Hasn't been up at the point for these restarts in a bit this race. What's he got up his sleeve? Pace car is in. He goes relatively early, and that works out well for Matthew Long as the green flag flies. He is going to be able to get in front of Abner Acosta, who as well slides into second immediately. It looks like Trent Dinkle able to get low to cover off Bradley Hawley.
Yes, he is, but Dinkle trying to make a move there, and here comes Hawley with a full head of steam, and he's going to stall out a little bit. Besaw Jr. behind him looking as well. Chris Hudson lurking in the background in 6th.
Apologies, it's a 4-lap shootout here, not 3. So 1 more chance for them to also get a caution, extend this into overtime. Let's hope that we can keep it green and mean here as Matthew Long stays ahead of Acosta for the time being. Long still trying that high side, or excuse me, Acosta trying the high side.
I'm not sure what he's trying to do unless he's trying to time out the pass here, Joe. They dive down into 3 and 4. Acosta looks like he's got a little bit of speed here. Does he have anything for Long coming to the line? 2 to go.
With just a 1/10 of a second between them. Long narrowly holding on to the lead. Dinkle looking a little low. Again, this opens the door. Acosta's playing with fire here, and a little bit of overlap, but now Dinkle has to check up, and look at Hawley have to dive all the way to the bottom to keep out of the side of the 501.
He dives it down. Wow! Hawley onto the white line. Dinkle looking real squirrely. That's going to allow for, I think,
Acosta's alongside. White flag waves as Abner Acosta uses the shot off of turn 4. Long not able to answer it, but look at Hawley behind them. Could he maybe sneak in there? Oh, and they come together. They come together, and Long goes around on the final lap. No caution. Here comes Bradley Hawley. 3 wide. Here comes the 3 car. Up the middle. Besaw Jr. Sneak attack in the middle of them, but this is not done. Here comes Bradley Hawley down to the bottom, out of turn 4 and to the line. Momentum back with the 3. Who's it going to be? It's Besaw! Besaw with the win by 13 thousandths of a second.
Holy moly, Joe! That is how you get racing here at Texas!
Woo! We had quite the race today. Lots of green flag running and coming down to a 4-lap sprint at the end. And Besaw Jr. out of almost nowhere takes advantage of the chaos to take victory and become our 5th winner in 5 rounds. He's going to celebrate as we head off to a break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. What a finish here for round 5 of the Precision Racing League NASCAR Cup Series. Robert Besaw Jr. took the win on the last lap. As wrecks happened, cars went 3 wide, and it was a race to the line with only 13 thousandths between them at the finish. Holly claiming second over Abner Acosta, who rounds out the podium. It was Trent Dinkle in 4th, and there was all of 0.130 of a second from 1st to 4th there at the finish. Patrick Cowgill was P5 as Chris Hudson finishes 6th, and it was Mark Kalin in 7th. Michael Witt went from 21st to 8th today, and Sumner did a little better than that. He went from 24th to 9th, and it was Adam Zemke with a top 10.
In 11th, it was Raphael Hubie, followed by Waldo Walden, with Octavio Rondoletto only able to finish in 13th. Taylor Stout was 14th, followed by Brandon Walter and Danny Cervantes in 16th. Skip Gandy was 17th, with Pat Harvey 18th, Troy Hutchinson in 19th, and Matthew Long in 20th.
A tough day for James O'Brien. First car lap down in 21st as Scotty Johnson finished P22 and Barron Hilton was 23rd. Then it was Carlos Romero, 31 laps down, but still chugging away. 24th, CM Pennington, 25th, 59 laps down, trying to gather what he could. Goodell, Guerra, and Zivkov, the last of the field. That'll take us to our winner, Robert Besaw Jr. here today. And Rob, you were definitely in the thick of it for most of the race, being up near the front for majority of the time. But coming down to that last lap, what inspired that move through the middle?
Listen, if there's a gap in the middle, I'm going to shoot it. I like the track plates, and that's usually what I'm looking for. So no, I saw it open up. It looked like they were being respectful and giving plenty of room, and there was plenty of room for my car. So I trust those two guys, Abner and Bradley. So shot that gap and just prayed everybody held the line.
We saw a lot of cars get loose out there as the runs went longer. What was it like inside the cockpit when it started to get up to 50, 60 laps on tires?
Yeah, you could feel, at least, in your force feedback wheel, you could feel that vibration, just the smoke in the right rear around the corners, all the exits you had. You're basically, it felt like you're almost dirt tracking it coming out of every corner. It was a chore, and the dirty air didn't help, and anytime you could be faster than somebody, as soon as you caught them, there was, no room.
Well, this is going to be very handy for you because it automatically puts you through to the round of 8 in the playoffs. Does this take the pressure off for Kansas for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can get that win to advance that's a big relief. And a big relief for the team. Hopefully we can get some more guys in there as well. Maybe get another guy, another win, get them in as well. Definitely takes the stress off getting a win.
I can imagine. Well, congratulations. Is there anybody you want to thank that helped make this victory possible?
Yeah, absolutely. All the guys at SGE, eSports, everybody's putting in, a lot of time getting the setups going, and I think it paid off. We had a lot of guys running up front the whole race. And obviously Trent there at the end, I came off the corner. I knew Abner dropped back, and I could see Trent in my mirror, and I was just pleading with him, just, hey, push me. I couldn't tell how close he was, but I felt like he was kind of pushing me past Brad, because I thought Brad had that for sure.
Great stuff there from Robert Besaw Jr., our winner here today in round 5. And up next, DJ is caught up with Bradley Holly, just 13 thousandths of a second behind.
Bradley, I think to say that was a fight is an understatement. Talk me through what was a very, very demanding race out there.
Just saving tires. That was my goal from the get-go, and during the first run, I felt like I had something for everybody, and then those cautions started coming out, and it made things very interesting.
How much were you consciously thinking about those tires? Every single lap, was it just sort of subconscious of going through it, or were you actively having to back out of stuff to make sure that you were saving as much rubber as possible?
From the green flag basically to that last caution, and once I realized we had 41 laps on those tires once that last caution came out, and I told my guys we're going in, and it's going to be a full-on rip to the finish line.
Obviously this is a tricky track with the high banking and all that. We had to kind of a similar one in Kansas, do you think you can maybe pip up that last 14 thousandths of a second, or how do you think it'll go there?
Oh, we'll have to see. I mean, I'd like to think that we'll be able to get that 14 thousandths, but the draft is such a big thing here that on any 1.5-mile track that it could go either way. It's just a matter of putting yourself in the right position. I could have gone up a little higher to not give B-Saw that middle, but at the same time, I knew Abner was out of shape, and I wanted to give extra room to make sure I had a good finish.
Well, there you go, and I'd say after a race like that, second place is nothing to shake a stick at. Bradley, anybody you want to thank for this run today?
I'd like to thank everybody in the PRL. I'd like to thank B-Saw also for racing me as clean as he did today. All you guys at GSRC for broadcasting us week in and week out. Y'all always put on a fantastic show. And all my waterbed guys, if it'd be a lot tougher to build sets without these guys.
Well, thank you very much, Bradley. That was your second place finisher tonight, Bradley Holly. And now Joe Peak is caught up with your third place finisher, Abner Acosta.
Acosta, one who was trying to challenge Long for the lead all the way up till the end. And then it came to contact. Abner, tell us a little bit about the incident. Have you had a chance to go back and look at the replay? Do you have an opinion on it?
Yeah, it's definitely my fault. Was just riding behind him, and he made a mistake in 3 and 4 by hitting the apron. Got my nose in there, got on the inside, and just looking at the replay, I mean, I lifted coming into 1, but from looking at it, I definitely went in too deep, and then I tried to get on the throttle too early. And as soon as I felt the tightness, I lifted again, but I mean, I don't think my car moved like a lot to go on the outside, but obviously, he's doing everything he can to win. He's running a little lower than usual, I guess, but definitely my fault. I just got tight, tried to lift. I moved up a little bit and just spit him out to the wall. It sucks because I definitely did not want to do that. I know he was leading the whole time, and I know saying sorry is not going to fix his 20th place finish, but I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Definitely is my fault, 100%.
I can understand the emotions there, but other than that, you also had some other dramas in this race. Tell us about that pit stop where it looks like it took you a few tries.
Yeah, I don't know. The brakes, I barely was getting on the brake, and they were just locking up, and it locked up to the point that it got me to the inside wall, and it was saying too far left. Then I tried to back up, and it still was saying too far left, so I had to back up some more. Definitely not lost a lot of time there. If it wasn't for the yellow, I don't think I would have definitely battled for the win there. Would have maybe a top 5. So that really helped. And then we just got back to the front there to fight for the lead.
It's been a fascinating season. We're now at 5 winners out of 5 rounds. You think you can be the first repeat at Kansas?
I think so. I mean, I was close today. I was pretty strong. I like Kansas, not too bad. I definitely think I can do a repeat. Definitely right now focusing on the next 3 tracks for the playoffs, though, and we'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, a podium today. Anybody you want to thank for that?
I want to thank everybody, Private Label Team Hype, the other sponsors, Ethica, Tomahawk, Neonism, and everybody on our Discord, calling out strats and everything. For the setup, James, Brandon, Ty, Tommy, Richard, everybody, PRL for hosting the league, and you guys at GSRC, and sorry, Matt, again. So.
That was Abner Acosta, very apologetic today with that 3rd place. And finally, 4th, another man involved in that fight to the line. DJ's caught up with Trent Dinkle.
I have indeed, Trent. That just looked like a handful out there all day. Talk me through that race, man.
That last few laps was chaotic. That first part of the race, I pretty well went in there thinking, I'm going to run my race. I was pretty confident in going, relatively slow in the beginning of the run because I found that it paid off huge at the end. And then that final couple laps, I never really practiced if we had a 5-lap shootout, and the car would kind of get a little tight with somebody close up in front of me and then a little loose with somebody close up behind me, so I was all over the place. And then Bradley sent one down at the exit of 2, and I should have went down to block him, but I just didn't quite have enough for it, so played it a little safe. And then I had a pretty solid little drag race with Abner to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, talk me through that sort of mindset that you have to go from. This is, such a big tire strategy race, and then you go into that final lap shootout where you're just going for broke. What kind of gloves are coming off at that point?
I mean, we were in Discord with, Rob Waldo, Michael Witt, Pat, and Scotty, and I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to run, 5 Q laps, because, the regular race laps, I was just, full lift in 1 and 2, and then lifted in 3 and 4, and with qualifying, I was more or less flat out the whole way around the track. So, and I almost had him, and I almost had Abner, on that second long run we had right before the caution. But, I mean, the car had a ton of late run speed. I don't know if I ever really got to use it against the guys.
Well, we head to Kansas next week, another 1.5-miler, obviously a little bit of a different layout, but how do you think that's going to go for you in the 501?
Hopefully pretty good, because I'm trying to get into that Final Four. I want a shot at this. I haven't really won. I only won one race this year, but I'm somehow up in there. So, with Matt getting spun on the final lap and finishing way deep in the pack, that kind of helped me out. But then also my teammate Rob won, which kind of didn't help me out. So little love-hate right there. Happy that he won, but also a little sad that now pushed me out of the Final Four. But we'll just have to do a lot of work, and hopefully we can be there at the end of Kansas.
Well, we'll be watching for it, Trent. Anybody you want to thank for the run today?
Big thanks to my parents, because they always watch me. Huge thanks to Rocket. All 4 of us, Rob won on it. We didn't do a single thing to the setup, just got it from their website, threw it in the car, and we were running races. Big thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast every weekend, and yeah, that's probably it.
Well, congratulations on the 4th place run, and it looks like you got a little kitty in the background, so we don't want to keep you away from him.
Yep, she's my co-pilot.
There you go. That was Trent Dinkle, your 4th place finisher here today. Joe?
We love when we can get pets onto the channel, so it was always a joy to see. In the meantime, we are going to wrap up here with some thank yous of our own, including the sponsors such as ASR. They design and build the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. Visit them at advancedsimracing.com. And RaceLab. It helps you to improve your driving skills. Start using it now for free at RaceLab.app. And ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing at thebuttkicker.com, as well as SimMSA. Find out how you can bridge the gap between virtual and real motorsports at SimMSA.net. And finally, NinjaTrader. Visit ninjatrader.com and get started with a risk-free trading simulator to start tracking your performance. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. And additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more awesome work. Thanks to the team today, DJ, Rob, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Check out our merchandise store at simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We keep a link in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. Unfortunately, we will not be able to cover Kansas next week, but we will be back from Martinsville on Sunday, October 31st at 8:30 p.m. Hopefully there aren't too many scares at the half-mile track. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out, mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.